Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! I can't think of any better way to spend your Saturday morning than by talking about Descendants of Zombies. It's kind of like watching Saturday morning cartoons. You're so excited for the new episode of Power Rangers or The Amazing Spider-Man, and then from out of nowhere, here comes this podcast about Descendants of Zombies every Saturday morning with up to 3 or 4 episodes for you guys. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support you showed last night's midnight premiere. I do that occasionally where I premiere a video at midnight just to boost the views and subscriber count on this YouTube channel, and it's really amazing to me how everybody subscribes to this YouTube channel, a YouTube channel that seemingly came from out of nowhere and just happened. I created this YouTube channel because I believe you guys deserved a podcast about Descendants of Zombies for far long enough now. You've been crying out and dreaming of a Descendants of Zombies podcast, and for the life of me, I don't know why Disney won't take full advantage of this. What's wrong with these guys? Because they know how many people love Descendants of Zombies. There are 600,000 fans of Descendants of Zombies on YouTube alone. So because I know this, and because I've podcasted for forever, I said, there's nothing wrong with creating a Descendants of Zombies podcast. I would try it because I've created a lot of podcasts over the years. Little did I know the response that this podcast would receive, with over 58,000 channel views, approaching 60,000. That is the next milestone. Over 2,800 plus watch hours. Thank you guys so much. And over almost 3,000 subscribers. Just 197 subscribers out from 3,000 subscribers. So there you go. If you love Descendants of Zombies, why not showcase that you love Descendants of Zombies through the power of a podcast? I've been podcasting since I was 13 years old. See, I have no problem talking about Descendants of Zombies for each and every one of you for the rest of my life. And I proudly admit to that because I do love talking about Descendants of Zombies. There were so many moments about Descendants of Zombies' legacy that I will never ever forget, and I will always and forever cherish. That moment that Zed and Addison met in the very first Zombies movie was a moment that I would never ever forget. Of course, they met in a zombie safe zone. I mean, who wouldn't want to meet their boyfriend or girlfriend in a zombie safe zone? I've dreamed of doing that for forever. I thought that was a very powerful way to introduce us to 2 new characters who would become Disney Channel's power couple of the new generation. It was a very effectively done way to really introduce us to a concept that would involve zombies, go on to involve werewolves, and eventually aliens by Zombies 3. While many people believe that vampires came ever before aliens did in the franchise, they waited a little bit longer to introduce us to vampires. But it was really cool. It was a beautiful franchise that inspired us that hope really exists out there, that true love could happen for anybody. And I think that after me wanting to find something to be incredibly appreciative of, Descendants of Zombies offered me that opportunity. And little did I know Descendants of Zombies was going to be what would revitalize my career after a 7.5-year hiatus had been seen by me. Nobody had heard from me. Nobody had seen me in years. And after being a podcast host for over 25 years and being visited by girls who were always dressing up as their favorite Descendants of Zombies stars every year on Halloween, trying to convince me to create this show for what would go on to inspire thousands of people, here we are. It's been an incredible year. I must say that. Because I've been providing commentary on a lot of different niches over the years. Many of you may know me for being the biggest video game fan in the world. As you see my video game collection there in the back, that's only a small portion of my video game collection. But inside that video game collection includes everything from Spyro the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot, Resident Evil, Jak and Dexter, all kinds of great video games that many of you are probably fans of. And I could spend hours playing video games on YouTube and twitching them, and I could spend hours talking about TV shows like The Vampire Diaries, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, bands like the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, one of my all-time favorite artists, Jessica Simpson, who I loved ever since I was 15 years old. I could spend time doing that, but I wouldn't get the same amount of support that I got from Descendants of Zombies, and that's something I noticed. This unbelievable, undeniable amount of love and support that I have received and gotten from Descendants of Zombies is unbelievable. I will never, no matter what niches I go on to talk about over the years, I would never receive this amount of support. And because I know that this support is undeniably once in a lifetime, why would anybody go on their show and criticize Descendants of Zombies rather than talk about the true value that exists within it? Because there is a message of hope. There is a message of how one can find true love, even if it is with a zombie or a werewolf or a vampire. I mean, I'm sure many of you probably thought that your boyfriend probably was a vampire on many different occasions, or a zombie even, with how he doesn't really pay a whole lot of attention to a lot of people. But that's the thing. I think that we've all seen ourselves through the eyes of whatever characters we have, seen ourselves through the eyes of, or we've loved from the Descendants franchise. I didn't realize that Zed had as many fans as what he did, which I think is really cool. I didn't realize that Malachi Burton had as many fans as what he did, which I think is also really cool. Because years ago, I would criticize a lot of Disney Channel guys because they really didn't have that same appreciation that the guys of this new generation have for their roles for franchises such as Descendants and Zombies, which I give them a profound amount of credit for. People like Malachi Burton and Mila Manheim are people that I am particularly fond of, and that really says a lot. When I want to walk up to them and I want to shake their hand and say thank you for your contributions to the Disney Channel to this new generation, that really means a lot. When you get credit from me, that means you're going places in this lifetime. So years ago, I would be on my show and I would be giving credit to people like Ashley Tisdale, Miley Cyrus, Emily Osment, who I love dearly from Hannah Montana fame. She was really the only star that really got it started for me with Hannah Montana. And because of Emily Osment, because I saw the potential in Emily Osment, Hannah Montana went on to exceed the expectations of every critic that it had out there, and it did have its fair share of criticism. But because I lived across the street from a girl who would have her windows open every single morning, blasting the Hannah Montana TV series soundtrack or the Hannah Montana movie soundtrack every morning before 8 a.m., I became very inspired by that. And most people would file noise complaints about that, but I didn't, because I loved the music, and I appreciated what she saw in it, and that was the value. Just the same as I appreciate what you see in Descendants of Zombies, why you sacrificed your lives to be a part of the Worlds Collide tour, because you really did, because you wanted to be a part of this more than anything else in the world or anything else you could have experienced. I think back to how revered High School Musical was, with a rating on the night of its premiere of 17.5 million viewers. That was outstanding. It was the same night that Miley Cyrus and the Jonas Brothers' Hannah Montana TV special aired prior to High School Musical's premiere, which exploded. And years after the premiere of High School Musical 2, High School Musical 3 senior year, even with its theatrical premiere, which I was there for, didn't even score as high of a rating or as high of revenue or what have you. So I was waiting for years for Disney to come out with something that would be so revered. Little did I know it would be in the form of Descendants and Zombies. Come to think of it, I've always wanted to dance on stage with hundreds of zombies. I wanted to be in a live-action zombies movie. The closest I've ever gotten to that is working with stars who were extras on Buffy the Vampire Slayer back in 1997. And that wasn't yesterday. So because I was a huge fan of vampire TV shows like Buffy, Vampire Diaries, True Blood, the original Mona the Vampire from Nickelodeon. I used to watch a lot of animated vampire TV shows. I'm also really excited with the live-action Vampirino. I don't know how they're going to do that for Disney, but just to let you guys know, they are remaking that. So I really think that Disney is really coming to its own. I, for one, when I heard the news of Zombies premiering, was incredibly excited about it. I was really excited to cover it. It was kind of like how when we first studied the novel Dracula in high school, I was in grade 12, many years before many of you were born, and I remember being so excited to read the book Dracula. And I remember how they described Dracula in the book for being someone who was described as so feared, but also a very innocent person. And I think that in the movie Zombies, characters like Zed, characters like Addison were looked at as characters who were very strange on times, very different. But all they ever wanted was to be accepted in the same worlds that humans were. And they got that opportunity. How they got it was they understood each other by meeting, and after all the things they went through in those movies, eventually ending up together for the rest of their lives. And I call that a very beautiful story. Because in stories like Dracula, where Lucy was Dracula's victim, Dracula never was victorious. Many years ago, the Nosferatu movie was the only vampire movie ever created where the vampire wins. And years after that, Twilight allowed Edward Cullen and Jacob to achieve acceptance in one way or another, no matter how far they had to go for the love of their life, which obviously was Bella Swan. These stories were so beautiful. And I think that because of the success of TV shows like The Vampire Diaries and Twilight and how revered they were, I remember how huge that was. Every girl was crazy about it. I always had the pale complexion too, but nobody ever noticed me as much as what they did Edward Cullen. But I think that these vampire TV shows of the past really drew inspiration for Disney to create something special. And I really appreciate how they came out with this in a very different generation. Just off the introduction to the Marvel Multiverse, which many of you checked out of. I don't know, but when many of you checked out of the Marvel Multiverse, I stayed with it for forever. And where did it get me? It got me to craving a McDonald's milkshake at only 9:15 a.m. this morning, recording my second podcast just after midnight last night. I want to say thank you so much for all the love and support that you were showing this YouTube channel, listening to my crazy stories and my crazy theories and how reportedly there is an alien probe on the way to Earth to kill us all, which I find actually quite intriguing. The thing is, why I enjoy talking about Descendants of Zombies so much is because I love it just as much as each and every one of you do, which is very different from a crazy girl who wears cat ear headphones every morning of her life recording a video on Descendants of Zombies that's only 8 minutes long that drives everybody insane, more so than relaying a message of positive vibes about Descendants of Zombies. You know, you claim to be the biggest Descendants of Zombies fan in the world, but where's your proof? Do you actually provide these fans with commentaries that they want to hear? That's why I try to go out of my way to help you understand Descendants of Zombies, because it's one thing for me to just jump on OBS Studio this morning and record a video about Descendants of Zombies, let's say the Dream Come True music video, which by the way was a beautifully collaborative music video, one of the most powerful duets I think I've heard since Go My Own Way from High School Musical 2, and that was over 17 and a half years ago. I say this because the High School Musical stars did such a great job with the collaboration of that. Kenny Ortega did also a fabulous job as the producer of this one, so I was really excited about him coming on as the producer of the original Descendants. But I think about, you know, how people do these reaction videos for Dream Come True, and they just say, okay, this is a beautiful music video, but why is it a beautiful music video to you? What separates you thinking that is a beautiful music video from the other 500,000 people who are reviewing Descendants of Zombies, trying to create a Descendants of Zombies podcast such as this? The key is, in order to create a Descendants of Zombies podcast, you have to show up with the passion and pride that I believe exists in everybody's heart for Descendants of Zombies. And while I may not have the Descendants of Zombies merch because it's very expensive and it will cost me thousands, along with the over $5,000 that I put behind this YouTube channel after I bought a $500 camera and a professional studio podcast microphone, which I'm actually going to be upgrading in October. I really do believe in Descendants of Zombies, and I do believe that everybody carries with them this passion inside of their hearts. So that's why I'll come back later on tonight with a third show. I will come back later on tonight probably with a fourth show, because I really do love talking about this. I really do see potential in this, never ever ending and forever and always existing. You know, it's like the Sherry Lewis song years ago, this is the song that never ever ends, because this is a franchise that I'm kind of hoping it will never ever end. And that's what I wanted to encourage you. While other people are shutting down the idea and the hopes and dreams of everybody of Descendants of Zombies seeing a 5th, 6th, 7th installment, which we know Descendants is going to get to. We just don't know when Descendants 5 will be dropped. All we know is it's going to happen sometime between now and next summer, which I'm incredibly excited to be here for you guys. And by the time Zombies 5 comes out, hopefully I'll still be alive, because I've been doing this for a very long time. I've been doing this ever since before many of you were ever even born. Perhaps your parents listened to me when they were listening to the Backstreet Boys. I wouldn't doubt it, you know. Probably your parents listened to me when they were listening to the very first Backstreet Boys album, which premiered on May 6, 1996. Allow me to confirm that for you guys. Hey Google, when was the first Backstreet Boys album released?
The initial release date of Backstreet Boys was May 6, 1996.
There you go. So I have this kind of very authentic memory. I can remember when it was, and also I was in the line purchasing the Backstreet Boys album on May 6, 1996, but you haven't got to tell anybody that. You know, years ago, there was this place called CD Plus, and you could go buy music when it was first released, and everybody was crazy about the Backstreet Boys album. But yeah, perhaps many of your parents used to watch me on YouTube or listen to me on the radio in 1996, of course, or in 1999 when I first premiered, perhaps when they were dating your dad. That's how long I've been on YouTube, for a very long time. And I just love telling you guys stories. I really do love telling you stories so you can kind of relate to Descendants of Zombies, because from the very first moment I saw the Zombies franchise, more especially, I knew that there was going to be something special happen with this. I knew it was going to leave us all proud to call ourselves Descendants and Zombies fans. I know it did that for me. While I can't speak for every other critic on YouTube, I know that it did that for me, also leaving me with an itchy nose every single morning of my life. I don't know if anybody out there knows what the cure for an itchy nose is, but I would love to know what that is, because I've had an itchy nose ever since I started talking about Descendants and Zombies from the very first time over 10 years ago. And the funny thing was, when I was uploading videos for a show that wasn't even a Descendants and Zombies podcast over 10 years ago, I noticed that those videos were extremely popular. And that was around the time that Descendants first premiered. I believe that was on July 31st, 2015. So that wasn't yesterday. And I remember talking about how proud I was of Dove Cameron and how far Dove Cameron had come. Little did I know everything she was having to deal with in her personal life, with her relationship with Ryan McCartan being unbelievably ridiculous. Ryan McCartan treated her so horrible. And when I heard how Ryan was treating her, I wanted Dove Cameron to achieve more out of life. And lo and behold, because of how very opinionated I was about Ryan McCartan, he's no longer on YouTube. And I guess I have each and every one of you to thank for that, because I believe that girls have rights, and I believe that girls have voices for the reason to be heard. I want every person out there who's watching this show who is a girl to know that even though sometimes you're reduced to tears because you can't make sense of your own life, you offer so much incentive to this world, and you help everybody in the world make sense. And I think that's what Dove Cameron and Kylie Cantrell tried to do, even though it felt like they didn't. And they failed every single time they tried. They really did help the world make sense more than it ever has. I think that guys sometimes are just real idiots that are taking up space in this world. And I say this because, I mean, you take a look at these arrogant guys from past generations of Disney Channel who didn't really value their position. They thought they were the best thing ever. And now in this new generation, finally guys are really understanding, you know, what their place is, and they're more respectful, which is why I really do enjoy talking about franchises like Descendants and Zombies, because the chemistry is really off the charts. It really is unbelievable to me how these stars have taken such franchises like Descendants and Zombies and made them so revered and left people so inspired that they're a part of something so spectacular. I, for one, feel so honored to be in your guys' presence every single morning of my life talking about Descendants and Zombies while I may be suffering with an itchy nose, which is very struggling sometimes. I've got a couple of minutes left on this podcast. So what I do is I upload these podcasts and I go away. I go to McDonald's and get a strawberry milkshake, which for some unexplainable reason I woke up this morning at 9:05 a.m. for a craving of, and I'll get that, and I'll come back and I'll see how many people hit the like button, how many people hit the subscribe button for this video, because that's all I really do. I don't promote these videos. I just leave it up to you to give it however many views or likes and subscribers that you want to give it, because I think that is the most powerful way of talking about Descendants and Zombies, approaching each and every show with, you know, the impression that whoever likes it is going to hit the subscribe button, whoever likes your channel enough is going to hit the like button. So it really means so much to me just being here, you know, giving people like Meg Donnelly and Kylie Cantrell the praise they deserve. Because when I see them crying on TikTok videos, I think to myself, you know, there are millions of people who are inspired by Kylie Cantrell. Why is just one person affecting her the way that they are? And I'm thinking to myself, it's because Kylie Cantrell cares about what every single person who ever said they were a fan of her really thinks about her. And that really presents value. You know, that really just shows how dedicated someone like Kylie Cantrell is to her job. Because for these stars, this is a job. This is what they do every single day of their life. So it's kind of like you're working at the supermarket or you're working at Walmart, and then from out of nowhere you get this one disgruntled customer that shows up and he's like, you know, I paid for this, but I didn't see the value in what I paid for. Can you please help me? Can you please assist me? So out of every 500 people that come through the checkout every single day, that lineup that never seems to end, everybody appreciates you and you're so happy about the job that you do, but there's this one person that shows up who is always disappointed in the value of what you try to do as an employee of Walmart or Toys R Us, what have you. Come to think of it, I always wanted to work at Toys R Us. But that one person will affect you more than the 500 people that give you praise. And that really showed me that Kylie Cantrell had a heart, because she allowed that one person to tear down every bit of credibility that she had worked so hard to build up. I want Kylie Cantrell to know that she did not do anything wrong. All she's ever done is give her life to this industry, and I think that more people should be respecting Kylie Cantrell for how far she has come. I really do. And the sole purpose behind this YouTube channel has forever and always been to encourage your favorite Descendants and Zombie stars that there is such a thing as hope, and hope really does exist out there, and people do love you because they support you. That's what I've always wanted Clarke and Trell and Leah Baker to know, is that I have forever and always supported them, along with over 3,000 people who have taken a chance on this YouTube channel. Because when I tell you I love songs like See You Tonight, Goodie Bang, and Denim, I really do love songs like See You Tonight, Goodie Bang, and Denim, and I can never give them enough praise. I have watched Clarke and Trell for what seems to be my entire life. YouTube premiered in 2005. Now, I was a podcast host ever before I was on YouTube. I debated whether or not to launch a YouTube channel. By 2009, I had been convinced to launch a YouTube channel, and I blew up overnight for every niche that I was ever talking about. Descendants and Zombies has been my latest niche to touch the hearts of. But I can guarantee you guys one thing. After this franchise sees its conclusion, which a lot of people believe is going to be very dramatic, which I hope isn't for a very long time, I know that I will never find another niche as incredibly supportive as this. That is why I say to each and every one of you, thank you. That's why I say thank you so much for not only believing in Descendants and Zombies, but believing in me. Because I never thought from the very first moment that my videos were uploaded, my videos would be taken seriously in an era that I didn't think I had a chance of even representing. As I just mentioned, probably in 1999, your mom, ever before you were born, used to watch me on a podcast and listen to my advice about what to do with her own life. Probably she couldn't make sense of her own life, and she used to watch me years ago because I've been around for a very long time. I'm 39. I will be 40 next year. So I've been doing this for over 4 decades, and in all honesty, this has been the time of my life. This really has been the time of my life. The honor and the prestige that goes with talking about Descendants and Zombies for each and every one of you is the greatest honor of my life. Because I realize something about the Descendants and Zombies universe that a lot of people don't realize as the host of their shows, because they just may record one reaction video about Descendants and Zombies. Let's say if Descendants 3 happened in August 2nd of 2019, which it did, there was one reaction video uploaded. If Zombies 2 happened, there was one reaction video uploaded. The Descendants and Zombies universe, what I've realized, is incredibly and forever and always supportive of you. Not just the stars, but of people who create the videos for them. And I think that if more YouTube hosts realize that, their shows would turn out to be as successful as this one. The reason why I'm so successful is because I could appeal to every single niche that I ever provided commentary for, while other people just, stated what they liked about the movies and what they didn't like about the movies, because there are so many moments that you love over the things that you don't in the movies. Is because I could tell stories about Descendants and Zombies that related to my own life, my own situations. Because there were a lot of times that characters like Zed and Addison made me think of my own situations and my own predicaments that I just couldn't make sense of. Before all of you, I was falling into a lot of different situations in my own life that I could never make sense of, and you guys really helped me make sense of it. When I felt lost and I felt alone, I knew I had the Descendants and Zombies universe to talk to about what was cool about Descendants and Zombies. Songs like Legends in the Making, Someday, If Only, beautiful songs. And I think that because of this passion that we all share, we're all friends. And some of the most beautiful friendships of all time have happened because of Descendants and Zombies. And that is something that is truly mind-blowing to me, and has never ceased to be mind-blowing to me, and will be mind-blowing to me 20 years from now. Just how incredibly supportive each and every one of you are. I mean, just 3 days ago, I was in the back of a U-Haul helping my friend move from Indiana into a new apartment. I was in the back of a U-Haul. My content had been uploaded later than scheduled, and people were still subscribing to this YouTube channel. And that's what a lot of YouTube creators don't realize, is that no matter what you have going on in your own life, it's not whether or not Descendants and Zombies fans will accept you, because they will. They don't care who you are. They don't care what's going on in your own life. All they want you to do is be happy. And be happy for them to create Descendants and Zombies videos. And if you show up and you're happy to create Descendants and Zombies videos for them, they will love you for forever. If this franchise lasts for another decade, then I'm on board for it. I'm here to create Descendants and Zombies videos for you for the rest of my life. I have proudly said that I see no issues with creating Descendants and Zombies videos for you for the rest of my life. off my midnight premiere last night. I'm back again. It's not even 10 a.m. and I've already got a second podcast uploaded. I've got to go to McDonald's and get a milkshake for a strawberry milkshake because I had a craving for one, but I'll be back. The thing is, I love creating these videos for you, and I naturally love creating these videos, so I don't enhance these videos. I do reaction videos from time to time, but this YouTube channel will never be like the other YouTube channels where they put themselves up in the corner for the entire 10-minute video and talk about the Place to Be music video and just criticize it for you and love criticizing it. I saw that from the very first moment the Place to Be music video had premiered over 5 months ago. They just started criticizing it and found everything negative to talk about for it, and really it presented a negative vibe, and I never wanted to do that. If I was going to do anything, I made up my mind. A year and a half ago, I showed up. I promised you Descendants and Zombies videos, at least one every day about either franchise, and it happened. And the numbers on this YouTube channel, the analytics, have proven to be true. Descendants and Zombies fans have forever and always been loyal to the product. They have forever and always loyal to the people who create Descendants and Zombies videos, and for that, I say a profound thank you, because I know without you guys, I wouldn't be here. I would be just a lost superhero looking for the opportunity to save somebody's life, and I fell into Descendants and Zombies, and I have never left since. And I have been incredibly appreciative of every single person who's ever hit that like button or hit that subscribe button for me, and that's why I know this YouTube channel will go down in history for being one of the most revered and one of the greatest of all time. Thank you to everybody for making this YouTube channel such a huge success. I will be back at some time later on today. I don't know when, but I will be back with a third podcast for you guys, at least one more video to go. I hope you will join me for it, because I have a lot to say where Descendants and Zombies goes, and I really do love producing this show for each and every one of you, which could never have happened if not for the love and support that you have continuously showed it. Having said that, thank you guys so very much for having joined me this morning on this Saturday morning podcast as part of our Saturday morning lineup. There has always and forever been a video on this YouTube channel for everybody who's ever said they were a fan of Descendants and Zombies, because I appreciate and see the value in Descendants and Zombies, and that's more than I can say for any other podcast host on YouTube this morning. I love you guys so much, man. We will talk again in just a few hours from now. Stay calm and zombie on, everybody, because life really is sweeter when all of us are.